Hey guys, we're back with the New York Millennial, giving you some predictions about April 26th. There's five
Yes.
states going.
Yeah, it's going to be tomorrow with five states. And we're going to start off talking about Connecticut. And in Connecticut, it looks like Hillary is up, 5.6 points in the average poll. Most recent one only showed her up two, though, which, that could show some progress.
Yeah, I mean, definitely been like an improvement in the past. There was about a week difference in the polling, and it was like an up 7 points. So he could potentially win that, but that could also just be kind of luck and just polling error. So he could also just lose by 5 easily as well.
Yeah, I just feel like that right there. When we look at the other ones, we'll see. But I'm pretty sure that's one of his closest ones,
Yeah.
except for Rhode Island. But we'll get to that. So Delaware, she's up by 7, and they only took like one poll. It looks like, at least from Real Clear Politics. So I
Yeah.
mean, you don't really know how accurate that is, but a +7 for her. So I
I
mean,
would. Yeah, keep going. Sorry.
so I mean, it looks like that might go to her. But what were you about to say?
Well, Joe Biden is from Delaware, and he didn't endorse Bernie, but he basically said, "We know we should think big and not think pragmatic necessarily. Like we should have big and not say no, we can't." Kind of like Hillary's saying. So he didn't endorse Bernie, but he definitely kind of put more support
Yeah,
behind Bernie. I don't know if that's going to have an effect, if any, but that's just something to note.
yeah. I mean,
Maybe
definitely.
maybe they would be like, "Oh, okay, maybe I won't vote for Bernie." I don't think it's gonna.
Mhm.
If she's up by 7, I don't think it would be enough maybe to push him to win.
It might
But
push them a little bit closer. I mean, I don't know how many people know about that because it wasn't like super popular, but
yeah,
I read
exactly.
about that. I didn't know he was from Delaware though. That's pretty cool. That might help him, but if anything, not by too much. So
Yeah.
okay, moving on to Maryland. This looks like a big state for her. The averages show her up 24, and the most recent one shows her up 25.
It makes sense though, because I mean the majority of Maryland's Democrats are African Americans, so I mean they generally swing to Hillary. So I mean it makes sense completely.
Mhm.
I
I
don't think
mean,
it's going to
considering what's
change.
happening in the past and like everything, it definitely. I guess I definitely see that.
Hmm.
Okay, so moving on to Pennsylvania. This is the big one. This is the one that means the most. She's up in the average 16. Most recent polls show it only about 11 or 10. I mean, actually, there's one that says 28, but it's definitely a pretty big going towards her, considering how big of a state this is going to be.
Yeah, and it's also closed like New York was. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is going to be a pretty decisive day. Not necessarily the biggest day. Like later in June, I think like June 6th or 7th, I forget which day. That has like the most delegates out of like any day from here until then. Because I mean like California,
oh
but
yeah.
this is definitely gonna. He needs to do a little bit better than all the predictions like Bernie does in order to
Hmm.
still like maintain a path to the nomination.
Yeah, a reasonable path at least.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, moving on to Rhode Island. This is the only one, I guess, like in the averages, it shows that she's up 2.5, but the most recent poll showed him +4, and I think this one's looking to go towards him because if you look, it's the only one that's semi-closed instead of completely closed.
Hmm.
So
So independents can
independence,
vote. Yeah.
yeah, and I don't know for sure. I don't know if it states it in these polls, but I think when they do polls, they just do like the Democratic
Yeah.
people. So I mean that doesn't take into account independents, and I think that's why he usually does a lot better than the polls because they don't ask the independents. Maybe they do in
Hmm.
like completely open states. I don't know, but
Yeah.
that's definitely gonna push it even farther because I mean he's already +4 in the most recent without them, and with them I feel like he's gonna win this one by quite a bit.
I would agree. Yeah, I think he'll probably win Rhode Island for sure. Most likely, I'd say.
Yeah,
Honestly, other than that, I don't really. I don't think he's not gonna win Maryland. We know
yeah.
that. It's
Maryland
probably
is
gonna be
out.
not even close. Probably. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna pull up right here just the delegate counts. So
Yeah.
Rhode Island has 24. It's not the least delegates out of all of them. Delaware has 21, but it still is kind of low considering like Pennsylvania has 189.
Yeah.
So even if he wins Rhode Island, it's not that huge of a deal. Though I mean, it will help. I mean, at least he could
It's
say
the
he got that
smallest
one.
state in the country. It's not that big of a deal.
I
Sorry,
know.
sorry, everyone from Rhode
But
Island.
we still appreciate. I mean, if you
Yeah.
go out and vote, so just make sure you do that. But in Maryland, like where he's gonna lose, that's the second highest, where he's
Yeah.
pretty much for sure losing. So that's gonna hurt him a lot. And then Pennsylvania, if he doesn't bring that in, that could. I mean, it's not like awful, 'cause I mean it'll probably be close to New York margins. Um,
Yeah. But
which
still, it's a big state.
yeah, I mean it doesn't like completely crush him to no end, but it makes it it's
It makes
really
this already steep and cliff steeper, basically.
yeah, because like right now, like we're kind of seeing like the last few moments. Like we still got a few months left, but these are like really just New York loss hurt Bernie a lot, and the path to nomination for him is coming a lot harder. And it looks like
Yeah,
she's probably gonna get the nomination. Though I mean,
I would
honestly, you
agree.
can't count him out. But that I feel like probably you could say it's gonna happen.
Uh-huh. And also, like, again, 4 out of the 5 of these um are close primaries. I would not be surprised if we saw something similar to what happened March 15th. Like the biggest state then was Florida, and that's what Hillary won by the most. Like
Yeah,
she won like that by like what 20 or 35 points. Correct me
yeah,
if I'm wrong.
it was a big.
And like the same thing, like Pennsylvania is the biggest state, and she's probably gonna win this the biggest, and well, that and Maryland, and they'll probably win those
Mhm,
two the biggest, and they're the biggest states, and that's kind of like not really good for Bernie.
mhm. So I mean, like, chances are he'll win at least Rhode Island,
I
and
would agree. I agree.
everything else, like, I think like Connecticut and Delaware, maybe he can do some stuff. In Connecticut, I mean, like most recent poll, Clinton up 2. He could definitely swing that. And Delaware, like she's +7 in the one poll they did. He might be able to close in. I don't know if he'll win it, but it'll probably be close.
I think this is my prediction. He'll win Rhode Island, not by enough, but like he'll win it.
Hmm.
He'll probably win. I'll say I'll give it to him just barely in Connecticut. If anything, he'll just barely win or lose. It'll
Hmm.
pretty much be a tie.
It'll be very close in
Yeah, and
Connecticut.
then same thing with Delaware, though he'll probably lose Delaware.
Hmm.
I would say like he'll probably lose it by like 5 points ish.
Hmm.
Between like 0 and 10 points, I would say 5 is probably the best guess. And then Maryland and like Pennsylvania will probably still be blowouts.
Yeah, so I'm also gonna say I think his biggest loss, Maryland, obviously.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania, I think it'll be similar to New York, but I think he'll do a bit better. Like it'll be closer to the 10, like about like
Hmm.
10 going to Clinton.
Yeah.
Um, Rhode Island, I think he'll win. I think it might actually be like a little bit bigger than we think, or maybe like maybe to 10 or so
Yeah.
in his way. I just feel like with independence that could help him a lot. And
Hmm.
Connecticut and Delaware, like as we said, it's going to be very close.
Yep. All right.
Okay, well I guess that's our predictions.
All right. See you guys next time.
See ya.